Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Thank you again for joining me today. Before we begin, I just want to go ahead and thank today's sponsor, my Meowth. I've named him Joey, and as you can see, he is no ordinary Meowth. I think he's shiny, although he could technically be a shadow Pokemon, but those are a bit outdated, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say he's shiny. With that out of the way, if at any point during this video you find you're enjoying yourself, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It would greatly help out the channel, and I would really appreciate it. Question of the day for you. Which Pokemon generation or specific Pokemon game is your favorite, if any, and why? It can be any Pokemon game, it doesn't have to be a mainline game. For example, I feel pretty confident saying Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky is my favorite Pokemon game. Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to read each of your opinions. Now, will Pokemon ever be great again? To answer that question, we must first ask the question, has Pokemon ever been great? And to answer that question, obviously, we have to take a look at Pokemon's past. I think most Pokemon fans can agree that ever since Gen 6, with the introduction of Pokemon X and Y, the difficulty curve of Pokemon has gone down a fair amount. Some of these factors include the new experience share, where all your Pokemon get experience regardless of whether or not they've been in a battle, gym leaders not having properly built teams, and the difficulty being scaled down just for the sake of making the games easier for kids. As we've gotten older, we've obviously gained more experience, so naturally, beating the games is gonna be easier regardless of whether or not the difficulty has gone down. However, if you take a look at the older Pokemon games, it's very apparent that the older games are just objectively more challenging. Not to mention that a few of the older games have the inclusion of the Battle Tower, which a lot of fans like, miss, and are eagerly awaiting the return of. I, however, am not one of these fans, as the Battle Tower never interested me that much. But I can respect the fans who do appreciate the extra challenge when Game Freak is willing to give it. I'm a firm believer that a game's difficulty is not integral to enjoyment. That is, if there is substantial content to back up that lack of challenge. Take Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, for example. These games may not have had a story that is particularly intricate or groundbreaking. However, these games are generally praised for being just all around enjoyable. There are a lot of different paths to explore, and the landscape is just generally interesting and fun. I can't comment too much on any personal experiences with these games, as I've never beaten them. I know, feel free to yell at me down in the comments. However, anytime I hear these games in a discussion, it's generally in a positive manner. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Pokemon Black and White. These games have possibly the most cohesive story in all of the mainline Pokemon games. And, as you've probably heard discussed before, this comes at the cost of being forced into linearity. There is very little to no exploration that can be done outside of the given path that you're required to follow during the main game. However, the difficulty is still there, and I'd argue that Pokemon Black and White are some of the most difficult mainline Pokemon games regarding just the general gameplay. The XP system has been changed from the prior games so that grinding levels is discouraged, and you're pushed to actually try to strategize through any difficult battles. So, looking at past Pokemon games objectively, putting nostalgia aside, I would say there have been, at best, pretty good Pokemon games, but I think until Game Freak combines the two aspects of exploration and a good story, that there not only won't be a great Pokemon game, but can't be a great Pokemon game. I am aware that this is a very bold statement. Again, feel free to yell at me down in the comments, but again, I'm just trying to look at things objectively here. And as much as I love Game Freak and Pokemon, things have to change. Speaking of which, it looks like Game Freak is actually at least trying to listen to its fan base. I think makes a great point, a beautiful point, in one of his recent videos. I think it's his newest video actually, at the time of recording. Basically, he mentions how all spin-off Pokemon games are a work of passion, since they're coming from companies that aren't forced to worry about multiple games or fan expectations, but they do generally want to make good games for the Pokemon fans. That may not be exactly the point he was trying to get across, but it is definitely something along those lines, as far as I remember. As you may know, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl are being outsourced to ILCA. With that in mind, it shows that Game Freak is willing to take risks, potentially because they do want to try to listen to their fan base. At least we can hope so. I believe if Game Freak is willing to do outsourcing for more mainline Pokemon games, that'll give them more time to work on the big projects that we all want to see. And even if Game Freak tells the other companies, like ILCA for example, that they have to make the game more accessible for kids, I think, and I'm really hoping, that if they can find a good balance to make Pokemon just challenging enough for the fans and not too hard for the younger audience, like maybe adding sort of side quests that are totally optional to the main story, but add a good amount of challenge if the player does decide they want to do them. I think that, combined with the passion of an external company, can potentially make Pokemon finally great. But having said that, for that to happen, we have to let Game Freak know that we at least appreciate, we're taking notice, that they're stepping out of their comfort zone and at least trying to give the fans what they want. Let them know where they're wrong, for sure. Everyone needs criticism, even Game Freak, especially Game Freak, but make it apparent when they're doing things right so we can let them know that we want them to try new things. We want them to make the best Pokemon games they can possibly make. Regardless though, whether you love it or hate it, Pokemon is going to be around for many years to come. But that's going to be it from me, guys. Let me know down in the comments whether you absolutely hate my opinions, or if you agree in some parts and disagree in other parts, or if you just straight up completely agree with me. I'm always down for criticism myself. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Once again, I would really appreciate it. I'm Brian, aka Pikachu Clone. Hopefully, I'll see you next time.